I'm Al. Welcome to Criterion Corner. This is a very special episode. At least for me it is. I have a panel of guests that are going to join me here in just a moment for our first ever Criterion Roundtable. We're going to discuss everything Criterion, talk about this month's sale, talk about all the things we picked up, things about the past, the future, everything about Criterion, but we're having a lot of fun doing so. Be sure to leave all your comments down in the comments section and follow every single person on this panel. There's a lot of information here. I know for a fact because I have followed many of these folks for many years. Some I've learned about recently, but all in all, they've all helped me with my Criterion journey. So let's meet the panel so we can help you on your Criterion journey. All right. Well, it's our very first Criterion Roundtable. I am here. Oh man, with this is like the Hollywood Walk of Fame of Criterion folks. We're missing a few that need to go on there, but I truly appreciate everybody. I'm going to go with Tony. We got from Basement Blues.
Hi there.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Now, everybody here, I'm going to make sure I tell everybody's information, put it down in the description. So make sure that you go and check out everybody's channels so we can make sure everybody gets the same amount of love. We have David Fish from FischToGo. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, man. It's good to have you. And of course, we have Nathan Hale from Nathan Hale Movies. How are you tonight?
I am doing awesome. I'm excited for this.
I am too. This is crazy. I told you guys earlier, I've been shopping with you guys for years. So many picks that I'll kind of highlight tonight that you guys have helped me make over the years. But Stephanie from Moviechatter, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. I hope all the Dotson babies are doing just fine. You have... It seems like you have a new one every time. You have 4 right now?
You know what? I had 2 die in a year, unfortunately.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's what you sign up for, I guess. So
yeah.
Then I adopted another adult, and then I just got a little baby pickle.
Oh, a baby pickle.
Yeah, well, that's what her name is, Pickle.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
She's a little baby.
Hang on. Did you have one named like Praline or something?
Praline is the daughter of the one who died. Yes.
Okay. So
I adopted Praline. Yep.
Yeah. So
She
are they
came
all
with that
named?
name.
Okay. I didn't know if they were all named after food or
no.
Okay.
No. I have one named after a candy and one named after a condiment. So I think I'm pretty well covered with all that. So no,
Okay.
The other ones are normal named.
Okay. And then of course we have Nick from NickTalksFlicks. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So usually in years past, Nathan and Nick were quite the team. They would kind of say what they were doing on each other's channels, and then they would show up on each other's channels, and then Nick went off and moved away, and now they had to do it solo. So I did split up and watch both videos, so just to let you know. So
Thanks.
yeah,
We're hoping to be together in November.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, we'll start this off. Like, the Criterion is a special collection for many. A lot of people don't understand the Criterion collection as well. They don't understand our fascination with it. They think that, oh, you just like to watch movies that are black and white and slower paced and 4:3 and have a lot of depressing plots. And that's a lot of it, but it's not all of it. We just like a different style of movie, and it's okay. But I'm sure we all like the same type of stuff. So let's get into it just right off the top. What got you into the Criterion, and maybe like what was like one of your first films that you purchased on the Criterion? I'll start with Stephanie.
Wow, I'm in the hot seat already. Okay.
Sorry. There was somebody that was going to be my victim.
All right. Well, like I said, I do have the condiments. So, my first Criterion was actually a DVD, and it was Silence of the Lambs.
Oh.
And I see this Criterion across the top, and I'm like, what the heck does that mean? I didn't even know what it meant. And then I realized, I started digging into the special features, and I was thinking, this is so much better than the copy I saw at my friend's house. And there was just so much more to it. So I started looking up Criterion, and then I discovered the collection, and I just started to buy more and more and realize it just had so much more to offer with the special features. And then it got into the packaging, and then it kind of led me down the road of, okay, well, let's try out some subtitled films, because I didn't grow up watching subtitled films.
Right.
And I just kind of evolved, and it kind of took on a life of its own, for lack of a better explanation, but it all started with that DVD.
That's amazing. And what a good one to start with.
Yeah. And it was random. It was random. I just picked it up and I got it home and I'm like, what is this Criterion?
You just thought you were going to watch Silence of the Lambs. You didn't realize it was some special behind this.
Exactly. Release. I just thought maybe it was a special release or something. I had no idea what it was.
Right.
And then that was it, off and running.
That's awesome. David, I'm going to go with you next.
So first Criterion that I ever purchased, or
just one randomly that you can remember early on that maybe.
Okay, so I went to film school, so a lot of my purchases were like in 2010, 2011. Sure. But I would say the first one I ever actually had was a Secret Santa gift from a friend, nice. Which was actually Rushmore, Wes Anderson's film.
One of my Secret Santa gift right there. Jeez, I need to go to your parties.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I need better friends.
They knew I was a film geek, and so they were like, "Yeah, of course." But I don't know that they knew like what the difference was between like a regular standard studio release and like a Criterion release. They just were like, "Oh, his has like 2 discs and it's special features and all this stuff." So of course he's gonna like it. But yeah, that would be my first actual like I owned a Criterion that was from a friend. I think the one I actually purchased with my own money was 8.5 when I was in film school. Yeah. So I know the Fellini box set's out now, and I'm like, well, I've got a few separate releases. I may want to just hold off on a box set, but
8.5's kind of mandatory in film school, isn't it? It's it's like that's what it's all based on. That and Citizen Kane and
Umberto D. We did the whole Italian neorealism, that whole phase, and
nice.
Yeah. Nice. So that ran the gamut. So yeah, those two, the Rushmore and what did I say?
8.5.
8.5. Yep.
Yeah. So do you return to Rushmore and or 8.5, or did you get burned out on those early on or anything like that?
Well, considering Wes Anderson is alive and still making movies, so it's always nice to revisit his old material. Because he's always releasing new things. Can't wait to see the French Dispatch.
Yeah, he's already got another one that he's making on top of that. Yeah. So
right.
He's amazing.
Yeah, but as far as 8.5, I think it was a little bit of burnout after film school, and then I don't know if we'll get into this later, but I recently just watched All That Jazz, which in my mind reminds me a whole lot of 8.5. It's just Bob Fosse's 8.5. So I actually did rewatch 8.5 not too long ago after All That Jazz, and it's striking the similarities.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, well, let's get into that in a little while. All right, Tony, I'm going to go with you.
So the first Criterion I bought was actually purchased inside of a Blockbuster store, and it was The Curious Case of Benjamin Buttons on Blu-ray. I had no idea.
What's a Blockbuster?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's what he's in right now. He's in.
Okay, got it.
You can get your own rental card at Tony's house. Right. So
rest in peace to Blockbuster.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I used to buy a lot of I used to buy a lot of films at Blockbuster just because it was convenient, and I was in there every other day anyways. And I noticed that it was different. I had no idea what Criterion meant, but that was the first one I bought back in 2009. And ever since then, it's just, been a crazy
addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it I think we all have that bug. So if there's ever been a support group, this is it. So, all right, Nathan, let's go with you.
Yeah. So I can't remember. I wish I could. I wish I had a big reason of why I got into the collection or how I got into the collection. Mm-hmm. There's 2 things I think that are possible. One, I was watching YouTube videos and I discovered it. And this would have been like back in 2014. This was several years ago. And I might have discovered it through that. But I also think it might have been what Stephanie was saying, where I watched a movie I really loved and then look it up and I see that it has this really cool edition. Mm-hmm. The movie I'm talking about is 12 Angry Men, which is possibly like one of the most well-known Criterions. It was also I remember my first haul. It was 12 Angry Men And I was so intrigued by all the Criterions Barnes & Noble had that I started looking at more. And I remember I got Paths of Glory in the first haul because that cover, I had never heard of it. And the cover was very intriguing to me. And this, again, was like 2014. And then I got The Uninvited because my high school self was telling myself, The Uninvited, it's only $15 instead of $20, so I can get one more. And so I got 3 that first haul, but 12 Angry Men, I must have looked it up or something after seeing the movie for the first time and instantly fallen in love with that cover because I love the Criterion cover for it. But I think what's kept me in the collection so much, it's kind of just an echo of what everyone else has said, finding the supplements and then realizing what other movies are on this collection and finding out, wait, I've seen this movie too, or oh my gosh, I like this director and he has movies, or I've never heard of this movie, but that cover's amazing. And it was actually, I wanted to quickly mention this. I grabbed my copy of The Bridge because this was one that Stephanie recommended to me. She recommended to her viewers at one point, and I was so intrigued by it that I picked it up, and it has become one of the reasons, like if there's ever the question posed of like one of your greatest discoveries from the Criterion Collection, a movie you've never heard of, The Bridge is always one of my go-to because had I not known about the Criterion Collection, I don't know how I would have discovered The Bridge because it's such a like underrated movie. And so it's just constantly finding out about movies that you would have never found out about otherwise.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons I love the Criterion. It's like a community, and it builds a community, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. But yeah, that's great. I mean, and 12 Angry Men is one of those that I love that movie. I saw that when I was in high school, which was way before you even existed, Nathan. So, nice. But I mean, the thing is that I'm so deep into the Criterion now. I almost feel like a poser if I go pick it up now, I almost feel like, I got to pick up something way more ridiculous than that. So
right.
Yeah. So I always want to grab it, but then I feel like, well, I've got all these other art house films and whatnot, and I'm grabbing
I really lucked out getting it as my first Criterion.
Yeah.
I lucked out that way, I guess.
Yeah, no, hey, teach their own, but I love that movie so much. So not so much the remake though, but that one's great. Mm-hmm. All right, Nick, we're not gonna leave you last on all these questions, just this one. So right. What about you?
Well, I kind of got introduced by Nate, being his friend, because he knew that
I'm guilty.
We were in a class together, and we were watching a lot of we were talking about like a lot of movies stuff because that's kind of how we both met. And I mean, I met him through his YouTube channel, but then we went to the same school and everything kind of worked out that way. And so I decided to go to Criterion shopping with him, and I really didn't know what I was doing. But the first movie that I picked up was one of my favorite movies of all time, which is 12 Angry Men. I know that's like the poser pick. That's like the quintessential, like basic, like you have to pick it up essentially if you're new to the collection.
But it's great.
That movie is just so awesome. And I remember watching it when I was younger and watching it on TV, and it didn't have the greatest quality on TV. So like now watching it on the Criterion format, it's like so much crisper. They did such a good job of restoring that movie. And the supplements are what kind of keeps me coming back, as well as discovering foreign cinema, because I'm very new to foreign cinema. Because growing up, my mom, she hates reading subtitles on movies, so I never got to watch really foreign cinema, which was very unfortunate. But being able to explore and watch all these different filmmakers from all around the world tell stories that essentially are in some way connected to like my personal life experiences has been amazing. And I think that the Criterion Collection picks some of the best foreign films that a lot of people maybe have never heard of.
Yeah, I mean, now you're making me want to just go pick it up. I'm gonna go pick it up tomorrow.
Do it.
I'm just gonna pay a kid to go in and do it for me. So,
smart, real smart.
Hey, kid.
That's a part of the 12 Angry Men is a part of the Criterion starter pack.
Yes.
Everybody should have in their collection.
I agree.
Yes.
I
Amen.
agree. So, being that you said that, I was going to ask this later. Let's go ahead and talk about the starter pack because, there are people that don't know what this is. There are people that are in the same boat that we were in at one time. And if I had to answer, I think my first Criterion was probably, I think it was a Wes Anderson movie. It had to have been. It was probably Royal Tenenbaums. I'm pretty sure. So, and I had it on DVD when it had this slipcover for a long time, and I was bummed that the Blu-ray didn't have that. And I accidentally got it. I just thought I was buying the Royal Tenenbaums, and I bought it at a Amoeba out in LA.
Oh, nice,
great store.
Yeah. That place. I mean, they just went down a little bit in size, but it's still massive from my understanding. So
I was just there last week.
Oh, are you? Is it still massive?
It's not as big as the old space, but they made it feel as big as the other place, which is
I was there in June.
Really nice. It's really nice.
That place, you can get lost in that place and be okay with being lost. Like you're just like
100%.
all right, this is perfectly fine. Yeah. I bought it there when I lived out in LA, and it was I watched that, I burned that movie, and I still love it. I still think Gene Hackman is fantastic. He and Danny Glover are hilarious in that movie. So, but yeah, let's talk about the movies that others should maybe get into, and we'll just kind of fire it around. But like we've got 12 Angry Men. All right, that's in the basket. Let's talk about the top 2 or 3 movies that people that are getting into Criterion that don't understand what us knuckleheads are talking about. They're trying to figure it out. What movie should they get? Now, I know that there are both ends of the spectrum here because Criterion covers a lot. And I do want to ask a question in the middle of this. Do the titles that kind of went by the wayside, like the RoboCops, The Rock, Armageddon, all those that weren't really, they just said Criterion on them. They weren't really packaged like the other ones. Do those count in this? So if somebody wants to pull those up, I'm not sure. So since I went with Nick last time, I'm going to go with him earlier on this time, but not first. Let's go with Stephanie. No, I went with Stephanie first last time. David, I'm going to go
like
with
a deer
you
in
first.
headlights.
Go with David. I just haven't heard you speak in a while, so I wanted to make sure I hear you speak. But so I'll go with David, and then I'll come back to Nick.
It's hard to say because a part of me is like, if you really want to get into this collection, I would almost want to steer somebody to newer films that are more on the indie spectrum. But I'm also of like the older, like I would, if you want to get into Criterion, it's almost like you want to get into one of the bigger directors that are housed in this collection, like the Bergmans and the Kurosawas and but I would almost so let me start over. I would recommend for the first 2 movies, if anything, Bicycle Thieves.
Okay.
It is definitely a tear-jerker, heartbreaking piece of work.
Let's say.
But that's not to say it's like, because it's black and white and like you were saying in the beginning, like it's a bore. It's not a bore. It's an absolutely fantastic introduction to neorealism and cinema's place in history,
right.
As far as that is concerned, regardless of the fact that the story is, amazing and so pulling at the heartstrings as what it is. Mm-hmm. A second movie, that's another hard thing to say, but I mean, again, maybe we'll go something with newer. Again, like I was introduced sort of with Wes Anderson movies. Mm-hmm. I think Rushmore is a great one to do. And I mean, he's anything of his is great. It's hard to deny. Yeah. Rushmore. Let me go with that.
There you go. I mean, I think those are great picks. I think Bicycle Thieves is mentioned in whenever I hear 12 Angry Men, it seems like Bicycle Thieves is right there in a similar conversation as far as, so I think you're spot on with starter pack. So, all right, Nick, I'm going to go with you now so you don't save you for last this time.
Sounds good. So I'm a big horror guy, and I think one of the best movies to kind of introduce you into vampires, especially for old cinema, is Vampire. Okay. I really love that movie. I was very surprised by that movie because it's a very slow burn type of vampire movie, and it doesn't kind of reveal too much in terms of like vampire lore, but it's a movie that I really thought, other than like Nosferatu, like really does great justice to vampire horror films. And there's not a lot of horror films on Criterion, but it's definitely one that I think I feel like a lot of people might overlook sometimes. It is slower. It's not what I thought it was going to be, but it doesn't need to be anything more than what it is. And then I'm going to go with something newer. Instead of Wes Anderson, I'm going to go Paul Thomas Anderson.
Oh, okay.
Punch Drunk Love.
Thank you.
Good pick.
Yeah. Amazing. I watch it. So Nate and I, we do a 24-hour movie marathon every year. And we did it this year with our friend Jackson, and he recommended Punch Drunk Love to me. And that's one of my new favorite movies of all time. That movie is incredible. Philip Seymour Hoffman gives probably the greatest line of dialogue maybe ever in a film. And then Adam Sandler, I mean, now he's going to have Uncut Gems. So The Sandman is a real deal on Criterion, but I think it's probably his best performance, better than Uncut Gems. I really like how zany and weird the movie is, and how you really don't understand what's going on through a lot of it. But I love that movie, and I just think that that's one of the best movies to watch if you want to kind of get into Paul Thomas Anderson, who's also still working today. And I think one of his more lighter films for sure than some of the heavy ones like Punch Drunk Love, or not Punch Drunk Love, There Will Be Blood and others.
Yeah, and I still don't understand why more of his movies are not on the Criterion Collection. So I don't know if they can do the Snyderverse thing. We can do the PTA on Criterion chance, right? Yeah, and the scores for his movies are beautiful, from Johnny Greenwood and Radiohead. I mean, if you, David, I think you're into vinyl, right? I see records in the background all the time.
Amoeba, yeah,
yeah, so yeah, Amoeba too. Is anybody else into vinyl here? Okay, all right. So I'm a newbie, but I'm totally addicted. I'm tapping one vein to Criterion, one vein to vinyl, and I have started buying soundtracks, and I found something that's very dangerous to my bank account. Johnny Greenwood's soundtracks are on vinyl. So look out, August. So well, those are good picks. I love those picks. And Punch Drunk Love, I love the performances in that movie. They're heartbreaking, but they're hilarious at the same time. It's almost like a Coen Brothers movie to a certain degree, because they know how to ride that fine line of hilarity and just total disparity. So it's absolutely great, and all the shimmers of light, and
the dinner scene with his sisters. Oh man, that scene like broke my heart. Like such despair.
Yeah, and my one of my co-hosts, Brandon, just recently watched that, and I lent him my Criterion copy, and it just wasn't his thing, so I'm not gonna fault him for that. But I was just like, oh man, why didn't you? And I was questioning, like, you didn't get this and that, but he got it all. He just didn't care for it as much. So, all right, let's go with Tony.
Yeah, so I enjoy the older films, black and whites. I do like horror also, so I think The Uninvited is a really good one.
Okay.
I like ghost type stories. Phantom Carriage is another one, but I really do love a good Coen film, and so Blood Simple would be another great one that I would recommend. Just excellent movie.
That movie is so good. It's just so good. I mean, again, performances,
right?
They're just so gritty, and I wish there's certain movies I wish I could have seen, like when they first came out. I was too young, of course, to have seen that when it first came out, but holy handbags. It seems like you would know those guys were going to have a big future, like they are just, whew.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you a story I've told on the channel before, but in college, I went to art school, and one day they were like, I think it was Joel Cohen come in, or Ethan Cohen. I can't remember. I think it was Ethan, maybe, come in to do a writer's seminar and blah, blah, blah. And it was at a round table, like seriously 10 people around the table. And I was like, oh, and I signed up. I was first person on the list. And I mean, you would have thought I was like, gonna meet the person that invented blood. It was exciting. And in walks the writer from The Simpsons, not the one I was thinking of. And they didn't.
Oh no!
But I mean, he was cool. He was really cool, and he had jokes about that because he knew that's what was going to happen.
Oh my goodness!
I was
Because
gonna
they
say,
didn't.
still not a bad time.
No, it was great. He was very informative. But yeah, he had all sorts of jokes about it because they didn't advertise it one way or the other. They just said, "Here's a name," So it was pretty rough. So, all right, Stephanie.
Yes. So this would be my suggestions for a starter pack for someone else, right?
Okay. Yeah, just somebody that's getting started. Yeah.
Okay. So I would have to agree with Bicycle Thieves. So I'll pick something else, but that would have been my go-to because
even if you double up, it's okay if you double up. Just whatever.
I figured I'll throw something else out there, and I'm a big fan of Japanese cinema, Japanese art, Japanese cultures, but I would pick something maybe a little on the lighter side for somebody just starting out, and so I would go with Ozu's Good Morning.
Oh,
because I just think that's so much fun. It's so easy for someone to follow, and it's not like you're pushing them into. I know a lot of people would say maybe Seven Samurai. I think that's a lot for someone new to digest and take on. It's a wonderful film, but I think to start out, I would pick Good Morning every day because every time I watch it, I have a blast with it. And
I've never seen it, so now I want to see it.
Oh, it's so much fun.
I'm so impressionable, so be careful because I've already purchased like nearly 20 movies this month. So
yeah,
you're gonna get 12 Angry Men too.
Yeah, 12 Angry Men's gonna be my.
Well, we'll just get that child that's going in to get 12 Angry Men and just tell them to get Good Morning and it's all family friendly stuff. So why not?
Is Good Morning the one with the fart jokes? The two little kids. Okay, so I've never seen it all the way through, but I've seen the clips because I was so intrigued. I want to see it.
The kid goes like this when he wants to talk.
Yeah, it's on the cover. Isn't it on the cover? Yeah,
so
I saw
cute.
Clips and I was like, that just looks like such a good time. So
it is so much fun, and the little boy, the little brother, makes that movie for me because every time you just see him holding up the hand, it's just the cutest thing. But I just think it's a really accessible film for somebody, especially someone newer to maybe world cinema. I just think it's easy to take in. You can see that not everything is real heavy and dark and serious, even though we don't mind that. But to start out, I think that's a good jumping off point. And I could go with Wes Anderson, but maybe I'll switch it up and I'll say The Squid and the Whale. Because I think that's one. I think it also appeals to maybe a younger viewer who might just be starting out. You have your whole kind of coming of age thing, but then it would appeal to adults as well because you're trying to navigate divorce and family issues. So I think it would appeal to a wide range of viewers.
Yeah, and that movie in particular has one of the funnier yet more disgusting scenes I've ever seen in a movie with the library books.
Yep.
And it's I don't even want to I'm not going to describe it, but it's hard to watch and it's like, whoa. So yeah, there's a kid acting out. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah. And one of the first videos I saw about that, like a reaction video type thing to that particular movie was a young man of about 14 or 15 years old. And he was talking about how this made him just want to jump into the Criterion Collection because he really connected with that film.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I kind of thought it could bring maybe like a younger viewer in as well as adults. So, but yes, I agree with the library scene. Definitely different.
Let us know if you've seen that down in the comments because that is a scene that you will never forget.
It can't be unseen.
Yeah. All right, Nate, what you got?
Yeah, I love everyone's recommendations so far, and it's hard to just like choose one or two because there's so many. Like you could do a starter pack for silent films alone in the Criterion Collection, and then same with any other genre. But when I was thinking of two, I thought of two movies. Well, obviously two movies that I love in the collection, but I can compare them to two movies I love that aren't in the collection, and two movies that are in my top 10 of all time, which is It's a Wonderful Life and Psycho. The two movies, the one that I would compare to It's a Wonderful Life, I swear I don't have my whole collection with me right here, but I just happened to grab these two before. But the one that I would compare to Wonderful Life is Akiru, which I actually think is kind of a deeper movie. Did you have something to say, Al?
I just bought that. I watched a video with Patton Oswalt, and he talked about how that movie changed his life. So
Makes sense.
I had to spend the money. So I'm really so please finish, but I'm about to watch that. I'm very excited. So
yeah, of course. So I feel like this is kind of Stephanie was saying there's like some deeper movies you don't want, like Seven Samurai, for an example. This isn't quite as long as Seven Samurai, maybe a little bit more accessible. It still is like it's 143 minutes. So it's a long movie. So it might not be the best first one, but if I give them my pitch, like It's a Wonderful Life, and they've seen Wonderful Life, it might help. But the reason is because I love it in a movie when the plot centers on just like living your life to its full potential. I mean, that's all of Wonderful Life. And then Akiru is about a man who finds out that he's dying. I believe it's from cancer. I haven't seen it in a few years, but I believe it's from cancer. And so it's what he chooses to do after he finds out he has the cancer. And so it's a very special movie. And the scene right here on the cover is one of my favorite scenes of all time. Like even outside of Criterion Collection, it's just a great scene. But the other movie I would recommend that I think could be compared to Psycho is Diabolique, which I've done a video on the channel for this one, but Psycho has the shower while Diabolique has the bathtub. Both movies are very unsettling, and I feel like for someone who's into horror, and especially into the very well-known Psycho, Diabolique might be a good entry point for them.
Nate made me watch that movie last year, and it was really good. I liked it a lot.
I make Nick watch a lot of things.
Yeah,
made you.
Yeah, he's like, we won't be friends anymore unless you watch Diabolique. And I was like, well,
that's a direct quote for me. Yep.
Yeah, I guess our friendship means a lot to me, so I'll watch it.
Well, yeah, no, a lot.
Do you regret it? I mean, like,
no,
exactly. There you go.
Worked out well.
Those are all great picks. I would say, in a Lonely Place, with Bogart. I mean, that movie. Yeah, there you go.
I promise I don't have my whole collection. I promise. I don't know what the odds are. I just have this one with me right here. It's a great movie. I just saw it.
All of Tony's movies are on the wall. Yours are on the carpet. So we get it. So,
I know. So, my Blockbuster's down here.
Yeah, exactly. You've got them stitched together.
Yeah, exactly.
And you walk gingerly. Yeah. No, I would say that movie. I love that movie so much. It might be my favorite Criterion. I don't know why. I just loved it, and just again the performances. Just watching people leap off of a screen, and you can tell the filmmaking is not new and edgy, and stuff like the car scenes and stuff. You can tell, and just the rhythm of the speech and everything. It's just old school, but at the same time, it's just such a good little story. And then when you learn what's going on behind the scenes of that movie with the husband-wife situation with the director and everything, and there's so much going on. But the movie itself, I love it. I thought to myself, well, my grandmother will like watching this. It's from her era, so I'll watch it with her. She did not like it at all. It was not her jam at all. She just looked at me like, okay, I would say that, and I mean, I would have to echo a lot of you, but I'll say something different. I'm gonna go with a Wes Anderson. I'm gonna say The Royal Tenenbaums. I think it's so accessible and funny and whatnot. So this go around, I did grab some Japanese titles, and Seven Samurai is one of those ones that I have put back more than I can count. I've picked it up to buy, and I've just put it back. I was like, not this time. So it'll be like one of those ones where they take it out of print, and I'll be like, I should have gotten it, So, but yeah, I think that one's right up there, because can you imagine people hearing, this is where they got the ideas for Star Wars and so many other movies and this, that, and the other, and then they watch it and they're like, where? What? Like, it's like, where did they do this? So yeah, I think that's fun. So, okay, here's a fun question that I like to ask people. It's one of the hardest questions to answer. I'm not going to throw Stephanie under the fire first. I promise, Stephanie. So what movie, if you could call up Criterion folks and say, hey, this movie needs to be in the collection. Nick, I'm going to let you go first because you made a whole video about this.
I've made multiple videos.
Yes,
on it,
yes, you've campaigned for this for some time. So I'm going to let Nick go first because this is like at tip of tongue for him while everybody else thinks. So go ahead, Nick.
Let me preface it by saying I watched this movie last year for the first time, fell in love with it, absolutely bawled my eyes out because it's so tragic, but it's also so heartfelt, and it's kind of what Nate and I say, the happiest Holocaust movie you'll ever watch. Life is Beautiful by Roberto Benigni. Once I watched this movie, I looked it up because I was so sure that they had a Criterion for this movie. And then when I found out that they didn't, I was devastated. And ever since then, I have been calling everyone up into arms on my videos about how Life is Beautiful should be on the Criterion collection. It should be in the collection. Benigni is very weird because I watched another one of his movies, Pinocchio, and that movie's very bad. But
that was your next movie to watch.
Yeah, but the thing that makes Life is Beautiful so good is it's a movie that when you watch it, it has all of those right beats that other Criterion movies have, where there's that despair, but there's also that like human element of it, because the entire premise of the movie is about this man who's shielding his son from the terrors of the Holocaust, and so he's making it a game. And it's, oh my gosh, that movie's hilarious. It's gonna make you laugh, and it's also gonna make you cry with the ending. But that is a movie that, to me, I don't understand why it's not on the Criterion Collection. It could be something with like the rights maybe for distributing. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to sit here and wait forever for that movie to come out, but I will buy that thing. Whenever they announce it, I will pre-order it. And I don't do that with any Criterions. I usually just wait for the sale, but that's one.
This is in his video pitch, by the way. This is what he said. I'll pay full price.
I'll pay $80 for that Criterion. I don't care. Like, I want it so bad. And I will, and I've told myself this. I know it's on HBO Max. I have HBO Max. I will not watch the movie again until it's on Criterion.
Wow.
That bold. Like,
it's like the movie Hunger. He's going on a movie movie strike.
For sure.
So, well,
Wow.
I knew he was passionate about this. If you haven't watched his campaign for this over the like a year at least, right?
Yeah.
So, please do go watch his videos.
If you do watch his videos, don't believe what he says about me loving jellyfish eyes or whatever you said in that video.
Oh yeah,
I've never even seen jellyfish eyes.
Yeah, that's right.
And let me just say this: I've had it going for a year, and I will continue this thing for 5 more years if I have to. I don't care. Every July, I will sit here and make a video about why Life is Beautiful is still not on the Criterion Collection. I'm still waiting.
I want to see like a countdown clock or something, where like days until this happens.
It's like what is in Zero Dark 30, doesn't Jessica Chastain like write on the office window and say like this many days since you've helped me or whatever? Yeah. Nick has to have one of those.
Just watch out the offices of Criterion. You're gonna see Nick marching down.
He's storming right there.
He's gonna get arrested, just screaming. All right. Let's go with Nate next. What you got?
Yeah. So for me, I mean, I would love Wonderful Life to be on there just because it's my number one. They have it on the Laserdisc collection, but because that's such an obvious choice, I'm actually gonna say one that Nick and I have talked about before. It's I have it right here. It's the it's the Mortal Storm. They actually just released this Blu-ray. Before they didn't even have a Blu-ray release, but the special features on it, there aren't really any. They have like 2 short cartoons that were from World War II, and then they have the theatrical trailer. I just feel like have any of you seen The Mortal Storm with James Stewart? It's a very underrated movie. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have ever even heard of it, but I just love Jimmy Stewart, so I like watching his movies. But it's a movie that takes place 6 years. It's when Hitler becomes the Chancellor of Germany. So it's not quite World War II yet, but it's before World War II. And it just shows this little small town in Germany as it begins as like a unified village with everyone friends. They love one another. And then slowly, with the rise of Hitler, friendships fail, families betray each other, people die. And it's a movie that was banned in Germany upon release. And the book that it's based on, that book was also banned. And so I feel like this is just screaming Criterion content. They want those movies that stood out in the crowd for the time that they were released. And for the fact that Hitler himself banned it from being played in Germany. It was released in 1940, but it takes place in 1933. To me, that's just a reason alone. And then also Criterion has released 2 other movies from this director, History is Made at Night and Moonrise. And so it's not like they're unfamiliar with the director. I think that it's definitely possible for them to release this one too.
There you go. I mean, we got some hard-hitting campaigns tonight. So, all right, let's go with Stephanie. What do you got?
Okay. Well, this is one of my favorites of all time, and I am a fan of horror, big horror fan, horror/thriller. Either one will do.
And if you've never watched Stephanie's channel, Moviechatter, she has quite the backdrop all the time. Her Jason, all the horror paraphernalia you have behind you most of the time is quite impressive. So
yeah, it's getting a little cluttered. I have to housekeep a little behind me. But the mask, it's very weird. I have a mask on a teddy bear, so it's very strange. I have to do something. I need a better
it.
Yeah,
hope the teddy bear doesn't come to life one day.
Yeah, right.
I know it'll be like Chucky Bear or something.
Yeah.
And I'm also a big fan of classic cinema. So I'm going to combine the two and say whatever happened to Baby Jane. One of my favorites of all time. You have Bette Davis and Joan Crawford, and I mean, come on, it doesn't even need to be explained. It's just such a great movie, such a creepy performance from Bette Davis, and she's amazing in that. I love her, and I'm just captivated by her watching that. And Joan Crawford just sitting up in that room. There's something about that. You're just trapped behind those bars, and I just love it. And I really would love to see it packed with special features because there's so much there. You know, there's so much that's inferred about like what was their situation, and we hear the rumors, but I would really like to know more about like what happened during the filming and, you know, just full of special features. And that would be like my dream release.
That sounds like, I mean, all of these sound like great candidates so far, but I'll have to say that sounds like one they would put out to like intrigue others to buy movies that you might not know, you know. So that's a good choice.
Plus, I feel like that one, when I saw that one for the first time, it had serious Misery vibes, just someone being stranded and trapped. And for fans of Misery, that's like a really, if they haven't seen it yet, which a lot of people have, but if they haven't, that's also a good little hook to get into the Criterion Collection.
Yeah, double feature for somebody else's 24-hour movie festival. So
festival, yes, there you go.
All right, let's go with Tony. What you got?
So I do enjoy the Coen films. So Fargo would be my choice. I think we should see more of those type films on there. But if it, you know, and they haven't really had a proper release as far as Fargo is concerned to me. With the special features and everything, but that's what I would go with.
Tony, can I ask you a question outside of this particular question? What's the one movie you own the most copies of? Because I know you buy, Yeah, you
know, people ask me that all the time. I have multiple copies of a lot of different movies. To be honest with you, I couldn't tell you what is the most that I have. Probably superhero movies, because they put out so many.
There's nothing wrong with superhero movies. I'm just saying,
Disney movies, there's a lot of reproduction on
Disney
movies.
Yeah, they know how to make their money.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say Star Wars movies. All of those.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, those are probably good candidates to have many copies of because they've done quite.
We're on the topic of Coen brothers, one that I kind of wanted to just bring up that I loved for other people who want to like watch other Coen brother movies. Inside Llewyn Davis.
That's a great movie.
That's great.
Love it.
That movie is fantastic. The music is great. Adam Driver
Yeah.
I could listen to him sing that space song.
Please,
Outer
Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah, for sure.
Outer space.
Space. I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah.
That movie's so good.
That movie's great, and a lot of people. I tell you what, if anybody's a musician, that movie's painful to watch. It's almost like the dreary Spinal Tap, to a certain degree. It's hard to watch if you're a musician, and the soundtrack is great. So if you are into vinyl, grab it on vinyl. But if you're just wanting to listen to it, period, please go find it, stream it, buy it, however you have to do it. So, all right, David.
All right. Well, so I have to pick one because I technically have two.
You don't. You don't have.
I'm gonna go with two. I actually have three, but I'll go with two. So one I'm gonna say was a movie that I don't even know there's a Blu-ray version of it that in existence. I don't know for a fact. I know it's on DVD, but that's a 2006 film by Todd Field called Little Children, which I think is on HBO Max right now. Nominated for like a few Academy Awards. Kate Winslet, Jackie Earle Haley, like his resurgence back into the films back in the late 2000s. That was a
creepy performance, by the way.
Incredibly creepy. The whole movie's creepy.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable for sure.
Yeah, but I remember when I watched it the first time. I think I may have seen it in theaters. I was blown away by it. The fact that even the DVD, I think, has no features, no director's commentary. Like, this is a good opportunity to bring it into the collection, possibly have, buff it up with a new remastered, digital remaster, have it, a ton of features and have that some commentary, even if it's not by the director. So I feel like that's a good candidate for like if for a movie that needs to get the Criterion treatment, that's like a good candidate. The other movie that I would love to see in the collection, which I guess now with Uncut Gems A24 may be more of those movies might be possibilities. Paul Schrader's First Reformed from 2017. Top 3 favorite movies of the decade for me. And the fact that Paul Schrader even has a relationship, a lot of his movies are in the collection already. So I feel like, if they get the rights to that, I'm in 100%.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's hard to whittle this down to just one. So I didn't expect anybody to, but I appreciate everybody exercising as strong as they possibly could on this. I could go with something like a High Fidelity. I love that movie. But I don't think it belongs on the Criterion. I think it belongs with a great treatment, maybe from a different boutique. Joe versus the Volcano falls into that as well. I'm not sure it belongs on the Criterion. I would love to see it there. That's a crazy good movie. But I'm going to gateway it because I want all of this director's movies on Criterion. I'm going to go with Killing of a Sacred Deer from Yorgos Lanthimos. I mean, good gravy. That guy can direct a movie. I love his movies. And if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you just don't. I mean, there's no in between on him. And I just remember going to see this in the theater. I remember everybody's like, why? And David, I actually just watched your video recently.
I was going to say I have a review of it on my channel. But
so everybody go check that out for sure. It's really good. It's a really good breakdown. But I really think he deserves a better treatment of releases. And I mean, The Lobster, Dogtooth. I mean, it's just everything that he puts out it's visceral. It's just gritty, and you can feel everything through the screen, and you feel icky after the movies. Yeah. But at the same time, you feel great because you just watched a great movie. So I compare
it to being like, I remember seeing The Favorite, which I think is another great movie that should be in the collection.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's actually like, to me, it's a comedy, but it's like so acidic that it's like being dipped in a vat of acid.
Yeah.
During it. Yeah. It's like that.
I laughed so hard at that movie. So
it's like cringe.
I went with a friend to see that movie, and they're more of, your if you want to call it top 40 more accessible movies, and they were like, I'll go see this with you. They have not agreed to go to a theater with me since, so
I don't blame them.
And they warn others about the trip. So there is one title on Criterion that I think is so polarizing. I want to get everybody's opinion on it. Just, we can make this very quick. it has one of the best treatments of artwork, and that's House. I've not seen the movie because I've seen bits and pieces of the movie, and it seems like I'm going to go insane if I watch the full movie.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen this movie?
Yes.
I've
Okay.
seen clips.
Okay. All right. So, Tony, what was your takeaway from the movie?
Very strange.
Okay.
Very unique and different.
Yeah, it felt like a fever dream what I was watching.
Yeah, oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Fever nightmare.
It's a must.
Yeah. But I mean, it has some of the best, most like jump off the shelf artwork, period. And I hear people talk about this movie like, oh, it's the best. And I'm like, really? Like I've tried to watch. I tried watching and I just couldn't. So I'm in our little support group here. I'm getting some help with that. So I appreciate that.
I appreciate the efforts. I mean, if you want to go into it, like I forget the director's name, but a lot of the work in the movie is all done with blue screen, which was mind-blowing at the time, like totally new at the time. So if like from that perspective of like, oh, this is like what they could have achieved back then, and like and the fact that it was used in a horror genre, like it's really interesting from that standpoint. Having said that, I did see it like I think on a New Year's Eve to New Year's Day, like at midnight, which was like the worst idea because you're already drunk on like tons of champagne and other alcohol. So anyways, it was an interesting movie.
I mean, but hey, that artwork is fantastic. So Obayashi is the director.
Yes.
So
right.
I had to look it up. I'm not that talented at knowing that. All right. So another quick question is, I like to go into the store to buy. I have nothing against people that order, but I want to know your preference. Do you get something out of going into the physical store? Now, I know we just came out of a situation around the world to where everybody kind of had to order. You could go into the store, but it was a little less appealing. Do you prefer to go into the store to buy? Meet people? Do you chit chat with people that you see that are shopping around for the Criterion, or are you like, I'm not getting into that nonsense. I'm just gonna order my. And this is for all years, not just this past anomaly of a year. So, I'll start with Nate this time.
Yeah, I love going to the stores during the July, November sale, and I do the online mostly if it's the flash sale in February or October, or if Amazon's doing their buy two get one free deal, I'll get online there too. But even still, like Barnes & Noble didn't have some I wanted this last go around, and so I just went on Amazon because they also do all of them half off this month. But I was going to say I much prefer going to the store, and it's funny that you mentioned, like, do you ever talk to people? Because actually this month, the first day I was going, it was July 2nd, and there were two different people I talked to. One of them, I was holding the copy of It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. And I've seen the movie before. I own the standard Blu-ray, but I'm like, do I want to like upgrade? And like, I'm not even talking to this guy, but he's like, that's a great movie right there. And I'm like, oh yeah, I agree. It's super good. And he's like, yeah, I bought it years ago. The supplements are amazing. And I turn it around and like, sure enough, it's like basically the whole back cover is the supplement. But so that was cool. But there's another guy I talked to where we had like a full-on conversation. He talked to me about a Japanese director he was really into at the time. And I was talking to him about how I was excited to get The Mirror. And he was like, yep, I'm coming back for The Mirror. And he's like, right now I'm hoping to get oh man, I can't remember. It's that new set. It's like the Wong
Kar-wai.
Wong Kar-wai. Thank you. I think he was coming to get this box set for that or something. And then he's like, ever since I got the Criterion channel, I've been watching the movies. And then if I like them, I come in to get the movie, the physical copy during the sale. And I'm like, I'm the same way. And we talked about Criterion channel. And it was just so cool because have no idea who this guy is, but it's just like we have this similar interest, and so we are already deep into a conversation. So I really like going into the store.
Yeah, I thought whenever the Criterion channel, kind of they brought it in, a couple years ago. I thought that was going to water down people wanting to get the collection, and I was nervous that the physical media aspect of it was going to wane. Not the case. This year was loaded with people. I mean, this is the hardest year I've ever had finding titles. Like you were saying, you know, like I was like, oh, okay, bummer. I went to a store first day, and I live in a college town, and this kid had a stack of movies. I'm talking about 30 movies, and he's walking around with them under his chin. Like,
Oh my goodness.
and he's
a film student.
He's got what I assume was his girlfriend with him. I'm just assuming this because she was being very supportive. So I was like,
patting him on the back.
That's not just a friend. Yeah, he's like giving him sips of water and stuff. And he goes up to the register, and I think this was his first trip for the Criterion. He's pretty young, so maybe so. But then he comes back with like 25 of the 30, and he's like just filing them back. He's like, he got too big for his wallet. And I just thought that was so adorable, to where I was like, should I just buy this guy a movie? Like I felt bad for him. I didn't do it because I felt like it would be creepy.
Well, it's kind of like when you go on Amazon, you like drop everything in your cart, and you're like, you don't buy it.
Yeah. Oh, save for later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But in real life.
No, but but he was putting the thin red line back, and I was like, oh, you're gonna like remember that? So, but he had like 4 or 5 selections I wanted. And I was just kind of like eyeballing him, like, like, what's this guy gonna do? So, but no, I was excited about his eagerness to be there and for the collection. But yeah, it's it was a lot of fun to see that. All right, Tony, I think I know your answer here, so let's go with you.
Yeah, so I love going into the store. I already have an idea of what I'm going to get when I go, but I have to pick through every single title just because something always reaches out to me, and I always buy a lot more. I'm probably that guy that had the big stack. I do not leave that store without at least 20 movies. But this particular sale that we just had, they were fully stocked. Everything, you know, I'm always there for day one. They were fully stocked. But I remember back last November during the pandemic trying to shop. Things were so out of stock at that point. But I have met a lot of people at these sales. I'm very introverted, so I don't really start up conversations, but I'm there picking around with everybody else. But I have had a few people talk to me during the sale, you know, asking recommendations and things.
That's cool.
So it's always fun.
That's really cool. Yeah, I think that's the best. You get into those conversations you're talking about, and people are just like, oh yeah, you know, it's just they don't expect anybody else to be into what they're into. Like I don't expect anybody else to be into the weird movies that I like and stuff.
Right.
You know, if I meet somebody that likes House, I just kind of leave them alone. But other than that, I'm perfectly fine.
You know, how often do you go to a Barnes and Noble just to shop for their movies? I never go to Barnes and Noble for
not
anything.
Not off sale.
No.
Yeah, like
Expensive.
$600 for, you know, the old digipacks.
Yeah, but you'd be amazed. Well, you all know so many people go for that Criterion sale.
Oh yeah,
place is covered up.
Honestly, I think it's the way a lot of people even know about the Criterion. Yeah. To be honest with you, I mean, for channels like all of you have, and like I'm starting here. I mean, it's amazing how great it is a marketing tool for the Criterion.
I love watching like Nathan and Nick when they do go out to their Criterion hauls. I enjoy watching everybody go do their hauls.
I do too. I love watching everyone's video.
Yeah.
So if nobody knows, Nate, you sold blood, right? Like
absolutely. I have a skull. I don't
remember
know if
that.
Yeah,
I
still am doing it. I'm still doing it. Like
it's his blood money.
I donate or I sell plasma.
Yes.
Sell plasma
to use to fund my Criterion hauls because it's just that it's that guilt of I'm a college student and I should be paying for my education. But if I do plasma, I don't feel as guilty because it's like this is a side hustle.
Didn't they have to poke both arms? You've done it too?
Oh, yeah. That was the July sale. It was because the needle wasn't working, so they poked the other arm. And so that sale especially, I was like, I
commend you, sir.
left Barnes & Noble with a bunch of titles because I was like, I am getting some titles today.
I've
Like, I was
earned this.
determined. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I
What
need
were
to
you
know how
saying,
much.
Tony?
I need to know how much you make on that blood because that's a good idea.
No, it's great money. I mean, I won't go into the details here, but like we can talk, Tony. I'll write you on Instagram or something.
Yeah.
It's great.
So we're talking medical secrets here on Criterion Corner. So I do not suggest everybody does this. Please check with your doctor.
No. Like, if you can't donate, then like I don't want them to be like, this YouTuber told me to, and like
This is all for TV. Don't do this at home, kids.
Don't try this at home. Yeah.
No.
David, what you got?
All right, so I hate shopping. So
okay. I don't like shopping either.
I know exactly what I want when I go into a store. It's almost like a laser target on an item. Boom. If it's there, I get it. If it's not, I may ask if it's like in the back or something, but if it's not, like I'm out of there. Like it's nice if I talk to people, but like realistically, it's if I'm going into a store to get something, it's about whether or not I want the instant gratification of having it like right now, and I'm going to watch it that night or something. Otherwise, like I think Nick was saying, like he has HBO Max. I have every streaming service under the sun. I can certainly watch movies at any time, and I can certainly wait on having a movie delivered to my door. Having said that, like, I mean, I did go to the Barnes and Nobles around me to find some of the releases this sale. No question.
Yeah, I think it's at least worth getting out one time during the sale just to see what the climate is and whatnot. But totally get it if people want to stay home and order. Stephanie, how about you?
Well, I have a very weird situation where I live. There are all the Barnes and Nobles within, I want to say 20 miles have gotten rid of all their media section. I walked in. Sad. They redid the whole store. It's a gorgeous store, and I went to where the movies used to be. It's toys. Nothing.
Yeah, I went to one like that, and it was all like Nook, like the book,
Nook and and toys.
Mm-hmm.
And I even asked them. I said, "Well, how about this one and this?" There's a lot of new Barnes and Noble stores around me, and they just wiped out them. They don't carry any physical media as far as movies.
Crazy.
So I went to Maine 2 summers ago on vacation, and the first thing I did is find a bull moose, and I went in. I spent the entire afternoon there, and I just went. And I'm very much an introvert when I'm out, and I couldn't shut up. I'm just talking and talking and talking. And we're going from Criterion to Studio Ghibli to vinyl, and the guy's following me around. He's like, "This is awesome," and I'm like, "You're telling me I haven't been out of the house in years." So
that's awesome.
But if given the opportunity, I would prefer just to go in store, just to browse, just to have that experience of maybe finding something that I didn't see this one, and I feel like it's limiting. Sometimes if I'm just on the website, I might miss something that I maybe would have picked up if I had the chance to see it in person. So I am an order online person, unless I'm traveling to Maine.
By default,
I am online by default. Yes,
you have attempted very hard to go in person. Yeah,
I have traveled states.
Oh, that's crazy.
Valiantly.
Well, that's devotion right there. Yeah. So, all right, Nick.
Yeah, I'm a lot like David in the way that I don't like shopping at all. It's either I go shopping with my wife because she's like, "Hey, come shopping with me for food." But like I don't shop for clothes. I tell everyone, like, if you want to buy me clothes, just buy me something. I'll wear it. Like, I don't care. When it comes to like physical media, I used to buy a lot more Blu-rays. Now I kind of mainly stick to like specialty stuff, like my Scream Factory, stuff like that. But when I'm with Nate, though, it's very different because I like having that camaraderie, someone to be able to talk just about movies with and stuff. So this sale, I went out once, and every time I go, I have a definite in my head. I'm like, this is I know exactly what film I want. And then if I pick up a couple other ones that just kind of intrigue me, that kind of jump out to me, then I'm going to pick them up. But I was so turned off this year because Memories of Murder just happened to not be anywhere in my vicinity. And so I was so upset. I was like, I'm not going to buy any. I bought 2 Criterions outside of that online, which was Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and then which I have seen. And then the other one was Stalker. And so I bought those 2 movies, and then Nate texted and reached out to me and said, "Hey, I got Memories of Murder. You want me to pick it up for you?" And so he sent it to me, which was very kind of him, because they weren't even in stock. Like I had picked like twice to. It was like it said that it was only like pick up in store only. So I had that option, and I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll pick up in store. Both times it got canceled within like an hour, and I was no, this is really annoying. So apparently, because Bong Joon-ho is like, because everyone loves Parasite, everyone's just buying up all the Bong Joon-ho movies, which I get because he's awesome. But when it comes to like hanging out with Nate and doing the content, it's great. It's a lot of fun, but it's always an issue because we always buy more than we say we're going to buy. And Nate usually always puts movies in my pile.
Of the scars.
Nate usually always puts movies in my pile, and then he kind of gives me that look of like, "You're really not going to buy that? You're not going to buy that?" And I'm like, "All right, I'm going to buy it." So you always spend a little bit more than you want to.
It's true. I think I was the one who put Inside Llewyn Davis in your pile. Like,
I don't regret it. I don't regret it. I mean, every suggestion that he's made have worked out perfectly. So like, I can't complain.
Glad, jeez.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm an in the store guy, but this go round I had to order Naked Lunch online. I ordered it from Barnes & Noble. Now, one of the Barnes & Noble folks totally swindled me into getting this thing.
Oh man, they got you.
They got me. And
Nice.
I'm not speaking ill of anybody. The lady was just doing her job. But I was like, that doesn't work on the Criterion. Oh, yeah. I was like, is that a new policy? And she was, oh, yeah. So then I racked up. I think it was like for that particular go, it was like a $200 trip, including the card, And I was like, so I got in the car. I was all excited. I was on a Criterion high. I got in the car and I was like, hang on. I'll just go to another Barnes & Noble and ask them about it because I was down the road a little bit. And a couple days later, I asked them. They're like, "Yeah, it didn't work." I was like, "I didn't think so." So she got me. So is what it is. Just fair warning for everybody out there that's getting started. Don't.
If you like to read, get some books.
Yeah, I like to read just fine.
Yeah.
And rumor has it they're going to have a vinyl sale in August, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
so
yeah. And use it for some of their regular priced Blu-rays and DVDs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That still won't bring it down to market value. So, but yeah, I like to go in store. Like I said, chit-chatting with people and everything, but I do have to order online on occasion. It doesn't have the same excitement when I get the movie. But I had to order that, and I ordered Deep Cover because it was just out everywhere. Because it was new. So, I got those. And I did go in the store and buy Smooth Talk because of David up here. He did a really good video on that one. So go check that out. And then over the years, Stephanie, Nate, Tony, Nick, I mean, you guys have really, you guys owe me like thousands of dollars because you guys have made me buy so many. Not really. You guys have intrigued me to buy so many movies that I couldn't even start to name. But so that's why I wanted to do this, because it's like, thanks for my shelves of movies, guys. So for all the great suggestions. But I do want to ask one more crazy question. I don't want to end on a negative. It's not really a negative, but is there a movie that you're like, shouldn't have bought that one, that you watched and it was kind of a blind buy? I'll go ahead and go first. I'll be the one that throws the first shot here. Hopscotch with Walter Matthau. I liked it overall, but I didn't really see why it was on Criterion. I didn't really understand. And it's still on my shelf. I still have it because nobody else wants it. But that's the one for me. So anybody else want to talk about that? Okay, go ahead, Stephanie.
Well, mine was actually part of the Martin Scorsese World Cinema Volume 1, but it's also getting a standalone release. And I hope I'm saying, tell me if I'm saying it wrong. Is it Tuki Buki?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think that's how it's the first one in the first box set. I loved the box set overall.
Mm-hmm.
That film made me physically ill because now we started out talking about my herd of dogs.
Yeah.
I am a huge animal person, and within the first 5 minutes, they are graphically slaughtering an ox.
Oh no!
And it goes on to show other things, other animal, I consider animal cruelty through the movie. And I couldn't watch the movie. It really took me out of the story. The story itself was engaging.
Sure.
And I think their story was important to tell, but I would never recommend it to anyone because it was brutal. I can't unsee it. I was traumatized from it.
Yeah. No,
so
that's tough.
And I understand that, different cultures live different ways. I get it.
Stay away from Amores Perros.
But
I was just going to say,
Do not get near that one.
Yeah. This was even, I don't know if any of you have seen this particular one.
I have not.
It was even worse. It was even worse than that.
I
mean, I've seen.
Yeah, I won't either.
I've seen that other one too, but that bothered me as well. But this was it was over the top. And I feel like maybe it should have come with some kind of even written warning on it. I don't know. I still would have bought the box set. I just wouldn't have watched that particular movie.
To me, it's. I completely agree with you, Stephanie, in every sense of the word, because I'm a huge slasher buff. I love slashers. They are my favorite genre of horror.
I love it.
My second favorite movie of all time. It's actually tied for my favorite realistically. But I could watch humans die. That's no problem. But the moment an animal dies in a movie, I hate that movie. Marley and Me, I watched that when I was a kid. The moment Marley died in that movie, I said to myself, I'm never watching that movie again.
Yeah.
And what is too, like this was real.
Stinking humans.
And it was real, and it was too much. And I just I was like,
that's actually one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons I know it's not real in The Thing, but the scene in The Thing and then Apocalypse Now, those movies are hard for me just because of the scenes that they have with animals. But
I have a hard time with anything with any kind of cruelty and kids and animals. That's tough. That's a tough sell when it's that brutal. I mean, I just can't. I can't. But the rest of the box set, highly recommend it. Just skip that first one.
There you go. Anybody else got one? Did they? Wait, everybody. Okay, it's like it really is a support group now. All right, let's go with Nate.
Yeah, well, I have one. It's definitely
Jellyfish Eyes.
No, I haven't seen Jellyfish Eyes, Nate. Okay?
Jellyfish Eyes.
I haven't seen it.
The man who dripped blood.
It's kind of the same reason as Al, where I just didn't like it like I thought I would. It's Robinson Crusoe on Mars. Is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah, you told me about this.
I think I got it with you, Nick. I was so intrigued because Adam West is in it, and I was straight up expecting a campy movie. Like I was expecting a movie on the equivalent level of like Adam West's Batman movies. And it's my fault for going into the movie with the wrong expectations.
Yeah, that's like going into Facing the Crowd expecting Andy Griffith's show.
That's a really good comparison.
Phenomenal
really
movie.
Good comparison. Yeah, so I went in, I watched the movie, and it was so slow. I liked the little monkey. The monkey was cool, but the movie was just like so slow. The Criterion art is beautiful. That's why I bought it. But I'm the type of person that, like, if I don't like a Criterion, I have no shame in selling it, because my philosophy is you can sell it and make the same money back and then use that money to get another one you actually want. And so like unfortunately I can't show it to you because I don't own it anymore. I sold it. But
yeah,
that's one that it's not, I just went in with the wrong expectations. So it's probably more my fault than the movie's fault. So that's one I didn't like too much.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing, though. You go into some of these movies blind buys. You know, you looked at the artwork and maybe read the back and whatever else. But some of these movies are just off the beaten path, and that's kind of the excitement of this collection is that, oh, okay, I got, because it's 9 times out of 10. I would even say 9.5 times out of 10. You're gonna get one that you really enjoy, but you know. So, all right, Nick. It's rough. Yeah. Nick, what you got?
Yeah, so
Jellyfish Eyes.
Anybody? No, I don't think Nate would ever let me pick that movie up. I think he would stop talking to me if I actually bought it. Because we always make that joke too about Sallow. Like, we'll never buy it, but we always make that joke in our videos because it's funny.
Yeah, Sallow and Antichrist. I'm just like,
Yeah,
Antichrist.
Antichrist looks beautiful, but I don't want that in my house.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. So anybody who knows me knows that Empire Strikes Back is the that and Halloween they're the greatest movies of all time. And Lawrence Kasdan wrote Empire Strikes Back, so I bought The Big Chill, directed by Lawrence Kasdan, thinking that it was going to be a good movie because I love Empire Strikes Back.
That movie is chill. That's what that movie is.
Were you surprised when Yoda didn't show up?
Yeah, but The Big Chill was so mind-numbingly boring that I was just like, I felt like my brain didn't even process the entire movie, but I don't want to ever watch it again. It was just it was boring and it wasn't funny. Like Jeff Goldblum's in it, and I hate his character in that movie. I hate pretty much all of the characters in that movie because they're all kind of despicable in their own ways. And it's like they come together because their friend commits suicide and stuff. Like I can get with that because I had a friend who committed suicide when I was in high school. But it was just such a boring movie that I was like, I hate this movie. And it's not in my collection right now. It's in a box to be sold at some point in time. Whenever
he's shipping it to Nate's house.
Yeah. I don't want
to. But yeah, that movie was just anybody who loves The Big Chill, I'm not picking on you. Like I'm happy you like the movie. Just I don't like it at all. And to me, it's like that movie's on the Criterion Collection and not Life is Beautiful. That's all.
There it is. There's a Life is Beautiful argument again.
So on our channel, CiNEMACHiNE, we always threaten to give movies away that we don't want. It's like as bad like prizes, and we just have this ongoing list that nobody wants. Yeah, like nobody wants them.
Jellyfish eyes will show up at Nate's house.
Yeah, that's everybody's consolation gift tonight.
Jellyfish eyes.
I think David had his hand up earlier.
Yeah. So I picked up a blind buy, and I'm usually one that, like, again, I do my research and I'm like, all right, I know what I'm going to get. And so I don't usually buy a lot of blind buys. I watch the Criterion channel, and that's like my harbinger to like figure out what movies I want to buy.
Sure.
But some movies are only available on Blu-ray. You can't find streaming anywhere. So one of them was Repo Man, which is a cult classic in a lot of regards. And I bought it thinking like, it's Harry. I met Harry Dean Stanton before he died. It was like one of those things that's just like he's got a cult status to him anyways. But so I watched the movie and I thought it was kind of subpar. It's one of those very scrappy, like a first-time director. Somehow it's one of those like weird situations where the studio just like gave him a ton of money to do whatever the heck he wanted. It was the 80s. It was weird. It was Universal. Right. They were losing money. They were just like, here, go hog wild at it. And he did, and it feels that way. Even it's funny because the Criterion release has a ton of special features, which again, Criterion knocked it out of the park as far as like top to bottom artwork, really gets you like involved in why
that movie benefits from the artwork greatly.
Well, it's like it's one of those things where like Criterion sees a movie and like even if you've never seen it before, you're very heavily understanding like why this is part of the collection. So in the special features though, with the director, and like there are scenes in the movie where like they didn't have the budget to finish it. So like you watch the movie and it's like it's painfully obvious that they didn't have the budget, and and like some of the storylines sort of have dead ends and they don't go anywhere. And so like I can understand like its place and I can understand like why people would appreciate like the scrappiness of it. Yeah, that was not for me. Felt very
Thank you for mentioning that one, because I've actually put it in my pile a couple of times when Nate and I have gone, and I've thought about picking up just because of the artwork alone. But I'm happy because it reminds me of the artwork for a movie that I do have, which is Scanners. For some reason,
you just got that a while back.
Similar like visual appeal to them.
Look up Jay Shaw, Jay Shaw. He's the artist, I believe, that did Repo Man for Criterion, and he may have done Scanners, but his artwork is incredible. So I would just check him out. If you just want like a poster, like then it's cool for that. And I'm also from LA too, so it's like it's an LA movie, and it's like I still didn't feel, still didn't really like feel for it.
And you made a great point there, is that please, if you like cover art, go check out the artist that made the cover art, because they
Yep.
commissioned so many different artists for these covers and for this packaging in general. And so many people, I mean, House is a great example of what we were talking about. I mean, that has one of the most appealing covers, yet the movie is a fever dream, as we were saying. I can see that with Repo Man. I do like to double feature that with Videodrome for some odd reason.
Didn't care for that either. Sorry.
I like Videodrome personally. It's a weird one. I think I like it because I have a movie club that I go to, and I'm kind of in charge of it. So what we do is we do trivia, and I handle all the trivia. I bring a stack of movies. Nobody knows what they are. They're in a bag, and there's a number that represents each movie. The person that wins trivia gets to pick a number. That's the movie that we watch, and then we discuss it. And one time we watched Videodrome, and everybody in the room was just cringing and hating me. Killing of a Sacred Deer was in there one time. Same thing.
For sure. Yeah.
But they tend to, react well to the movies, and it causes discussion. So that's the beauty of it. So I think that's why I like that movie so much, because it does make people cringe. All right, Tony, do you have one?
There was one in particular that I bought. I think the last time there was a sale, it's when Crash came out.
Oh, okay.
Cronenberg and
Cronenberg's Crash. Yeah,
I did not care for that one at all. So I ended up with that one.
Yeah, that one is. It's a little hard for me to believe that one. I know I'm not supposed to really, but hey, let's get into a car accident, and then you're really attractive. So it's pretty tough to get through that one. I remember when the other Crash movie came out, and people got those confused all the time. They kept getting those confused. So when they were both out on just like regular DVD, Blu-ray, people kept buying the wrong one. They were like, "This isn't the movie." No. Right. Or why do people keep talking about this movie? So
big difference.
Yeah. Kaufman didn't write that one. So I do have to say that I like Cronenberg to a certain degree. Not all Cronenberg. Yeah. It's just like I like 80s John Carpenter, not all John Carpenter. So but you watch Scanners, you like Scanners, so you know all about Cronenberg. So there you go. So well, folks, I want to round this out with something positive. So let's just say, why the Criterion? And is there another boutique that you see parallel or maybe better that's rising, or is Criterion the way to go for you? And I'm going to start with Stephanie on this one.
Well, I'm probably going to go back to my original statement that for me, Criterion, I just think it offers so much more if you want to experience the full scope of any film. And if you're a fan of classic cinema, you're probably going to get the best transfer that you're going to find. You're going to have accessibility to the special features, whatever supplemental materials they put in, the artwork, the packaging. I mean, I really believe they're just heads and shoulders above any other boutique label. And this is a whole nother tangent. I don't even think they need to go 4K, because I think they're just fine where they are.
Oh my goodness.
Sure.
People
I think I am so happy with the Blu-ray, or even if you put a DVD in your new 4K player, it's going to upscale. It's going to look fantastic. So I think they're fine right where they are. And I love, like, if you think about a film like Parasite, they had a Blu-ray release. They had a 4K release. Both of them were bare bones, nothing.
I had the Blu-ray release.
Right. And we had to wait for the Criterion to get a proper release.
Right. Yeah.
And not to, look down on other things, but I think if you want that full experience, Criterion is the way to go.
Yeah, it's like a Promising Young Woman that just came out. I bought that on Blu-ray, and it's just like, it had such great marketing around it and everything. I liked that movie a whole lot. It was probably my favorite movie last year, just because nothing else was out. But I liked that movie a whole lot, and they just like, here you go, in your face, buy it, shut up about it, And I was just like, man, that's why I like the Criterion, because they take care of it. And have you guys ever watched the video of how they go about just? I mean, it is amazing to watch. So yeah. I agree with you, Stephanie. 100%.
Yeah, especially like when you find a film that you just love and you can't wait to get to those special features because you want to know as much as you can get about it. And you look, you go to the main menu and there's like nothing. And it's it's so disappointing because like I just want to keep going and learning. And
how I feel with my wish list, the one I want on Criterion.
It's play movie and then scene selection, and that's it.
Yes.
The worst.
Yes. So we want to get that, that full release, and so that's my go-to boutique label.
There you go. All right, David, how about you?
Yeah, like I was saying, even with Repo Man, like a blind buy, even if you've never seen the movie before, Criterion just does it from top to bottom, or I guess bottom to top, whichever. From you look at the artwork and you're intrigued, or like you don't know what the movie is, but you open it up and it's like we were talking about, like with all these other bare bones releases, like most Blu-rays don't even come with like booklets or artwork inside, or even like artwork on the disc. Like Criterion has that. You go into the booklet and you read these essays, which get you an idea as to what the movie's about, even though you haven't even seen the movie yet. You haven't popped the disc yet, and you're like already like, what is this? And then you get into the disc, and yes, these transfers are just pretty immaculate, even on Blu-ray standards. And the special features are usually pretty profound, or like they're very like involved in like the filmmaking aspect, or like why they make a case for why these movies deserve the treatment that they do. Even if you haven't seen the movie, which is like, it's incredible. It's the only boutique label I even buy physically anymore. I don't a lot of people buy like these steel books. I don't do that. Just because I feel like Criterion gets it. They really understand cinema.
Yeah, and going to film school, I mean, the love and care that you see going into these movies behind the scenes and whatnot. I mean, I think every movie, for all the people that work and put the blood, sweat, and tears into every single movie, even if we don't like the movies, even if it's not your favorite genre or whatever, I think they deserve this level of attention, similar to the Parasite conversation. I mean, it's just amazing how they really do get it. It's almost like they can see into our minds of what we want exactly. Maybe not a couple choices that we have, but as far as how to treat movies. General.
And I know like Vinegar Syndrome and Arrow, they have like, I haven't actually purchased releases from theirs, but I want to say the clientele, but that's the wrong word. Like the filmographies that they decide to choose, I guess, are not of my particular taste, or I guess they don't make a grand statement or case as to like why this is a special thing for me. Like, that's just not something I see. But I feel like Criterion, they've also been around longer, and they're kind of, like, I know Spotify was the first sort of out the gate for streaming music. So like all these other, like Apple and whatever, have tried to get to the level that Spotify has, but Spotify is still king. So it's sort of like Criterion's in the same boat. Criterion pays better, I hope, than Spotify does. But
yeah. I agree. And I will say this about Arrow. They do for me personally, they do a couple titles here and there really well. The Tremors special edition, and Donnie Darko, and RoboCop. Those three I have purchased a few. I like the Heathers and stuff like that. But the cases and everything, if you get the special edition with the sleeves and all that stuff, they feel great. But even the cases aren't as strong and whatnot as the Criterion. So yeah, totally get it. All right, Tony, let's hear what you got.
Yeah, so I agree with Stephanie as far as the packaging and the way that they look. They just take a lot of good care of the way that they present these. Plus, even if I don't enjoy the movie as much as I thought I would, after watching the supplements and the special features, sometimes that usually changes me to want to watch it again. So usually I'll watch it one time, then I'll watch the special features, and then the next time I'll watch it with a commentary, because they all pretty much have a really good commentary track. If not multiple. Oh yeah,
yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, I watched Memories of Murder today.
Oh,
it comes with 2 discs, so you have you have 2 discs worth of special features on that one. So, it's a big difference in just a regular studio release.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm excited to watch that one too. I'll pick that up this go around.
It's good.
It's so good. It's a great movie.
I'm very eager. Folks talked me into that after watching 1,000 videos of people going, "Yeah, I got this one. I got this." I was like, "Okay, I'll get it."
One that you should watch, Al. It's not on Criterion, but I really want it to be on Criterion someday, and it doesn't get as much love. Bong Joon-ho's Mother. That movie.
Oh, I haven't seen it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
I love Parasite. It's still my favorite, but Mother to me is like the best example of a movie that if people hadn't heard of Bong Joon-ho before, or like if they only had seen Mother, that would probably be a lot of people's favorite from Bong Joon-ho because that movie is incredible.
Yeah.
That movie's so good.
I could easily see a box set of Bong. I mean, the Snowpiercer
Absolutely.
and the host are also incredible.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah. And I oddly enough, I liked Okja just fine.
Yes.
That
was
Netflix
good.
movie.
Yep.
Yeah, that was especially if you're an animal lover. I mean,
Yep.
you had to like
for
that one.
sure.
So, but yeah, they just made that, and I'm a Jake Gyllenhaal. Like I can watch him read the newspaper just fine. So, all right, Nick, how about you?
Yeah, I would say the best thing about Criterion is like when you get into the Criterion Collection, you can really understand just how much they love the art of film, and they look at the art perspective of movies. Because a lot of the time, I mean, these big budget, superhero movies and Star Wars movies, like I love those movies. I go and watch them. I love going to the theater and just having that immersive experience with a group of people. But I think Criterion really kind of puts movies down to the bare minimum of what they should be, which is, well, not what they should be, but what they kind of are. They're a representation on art and on life. And I think that they are able to do that so well with the movies that they select most of the time. I won't say all of them because they've kind of done some where it's like, Criterion, you're trying to kind of get more on the mainstream crowd. But for the most part, the movies that they've been able to choose really just show the art of film, and it's from a different wide spectrum of movies. It's not just one certain base. It's a variety of stuff, and to me, one of the best artistic representations of what Criterion can do is one that we haven't mentioned today. Fantastic Mr. Fox. That Criterion is probably my favorite Criterion I own because it is number one, gorgeous artwork on the front, and they really not only showcase the movie to perfection, but they actually show the art of the film by giving us little stills of like everything that went on in the process of making that movie in the booklet. So like, I don't know. I love the artistic merit that they put into Criterion, and it really just shows, how artistic film is and separates itself from that mainstream crowd of these big giant blockbusters.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Fantastic Mr. Fox is one that I love. I rounded out my Wes Anderson this go round. So pretty excited about that. All right, Nate, what about you?
For me, Criterion Collection definitely is my favorite of the boutique labels. I do want to give a little shout out to Kino Lorber, mostly because while I don't think their releases are, this isn't to put them down, I don't think they're anywhere near as good as Criterion's. I appreciate them because they are releasing Blu-rays for movies that I want to have Blu-ray copies. Like there are Billy Wilder films, Alfred Hitchcock films, James Stewart. Like I could go on and on. A bunch of movies that wouldn't have a Blu-ray release if Kino Lorber hadn't gotten to them. And so I more so appreciate them for actually like having a Blu-ray, not for the supplements or the special features, but I just wanted to throw that out there. But to me, the Criterion Collection, it's just an exciting thing. Like earlier today, I watched the Kid Brother, Harold Lloyd, for the first time. And as I was watching it, I'm in my room and I'm staying with my parents over the summer between school breaks. And my little sister walks in and she sees them watching a silent movie. And I don't think she's ever seen a silent movie, but I'm like, you should watch some of this. It's like super funny, actually. So she sits down and she watched the last maybe 30 minutes with me and was laughing with me and everything. And at the end of the movie, I'm like, this is what the cover looks like. And the first thing she says is, oh, that's a Criterion? And I'm like, yeah, it's in the Criterion Collection. And it's cool because my sister because of how she's seen like me fall in love with the collection, it's almost like if she sees something is on the collection, she gets excited too, because she knows that this is a collection that's like a big deal to me. And it's just exciting. Like every 15th of the month, I wait for the email to come out of what they're going to be announcing for their upcoming releases. And I know Nick does too, because we're always texting each other. I'm sure all of you guys do, but it's just something. Yeah, it's something that's so exciting. And then like if a movie, like I'm honestly like, obviously I'm excited if a movie I want gets on there, but if a movie I know gets on there, I'm excited because I'm like, whoa, like I actually know about this movie. That's super exciting. But the whole thing is exciting, and it builds for things like this. Here we are almost, an hour and a half of talking, and I could talk longer. I could talk all day about the Criterion Collection. So for that,
passion.
For that, I love it.
In terms of that excitement, that I just wanted to say one thing. I also really get excited, not only for like the movies that I know that I've seen, or the movies that I want, to be released, being released. I also get excited for the filmmakers. Because like being on the Criterion Collection, that's like something super special. And I want to be a filmmaker myself. Like if I ever had a movie on the Criterion Collection, I might die.
That's like better than an Oscar.
That's my goal for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
That's mine too. Like my thing is like I would love to win an Oscar. That'd be cool. But like I think the cream of the crop is having a movie be on the Criterion Collection, because like
you've made it.
Yeah, because it shows that like there's again going back to that artistic merit and just that whole that love of cinema. Like that to me is so vital, and that's what Criterion does so well, is being able to showcase the talents of individuals that we've probably never heard of, or a lot of us were like, who's this person? And then you just kind of get into this rabbit hole of like watching all their films because of it. And that's the thing. Like I get excited for the filmmakers because man, that's got to be so awesome.
I just want to add one thing. We haven't mentioned David Lynch.
Oh gosh.
True.
And I would say, like, if we want to go back to a starter pack, like
I was going to say starter pack,
like a lot. There are some of his movies that are not in the collection either, but
pick your poison. I mean,
basically, but I feel like his relation, the filmmakers, once you're like in the collection, I guess like maybe the relationship with the boutique label is like, I don't know what that's like, but I feel like David Lynch's relationship with them is so like. It's so interconnected. He's so like involved with the releases. Yeah, I just want to see more of that. Awesome.
Yeah, and I love his weather reports recently. So put those on Criterion. I'll watch them.
Weather reports collection.
I'll just watch those. Well, folks, I really do appreciate you all stopping by. I want to give everybody a chance to tell the folks at home where they can find you, of course. But from the bottom of my heart, this has been a blast for me. Just chatting it up about Criterion. I would say the Criterion is special to me for the love of the movie that they give, for the camaraderie that you have whenever you do go to the store, or things like we're doing now, this round table. We can get together and just chit chat and just kind of all have glee in our little hearts. It's, it's like Christmas a couple extra times a year, in my opinion. And it makes it a lot more fun. And I know everybody has their Grail or their White Whale or whatever it is that's out there, but make sure that you tune in to every single person on here's channel, which they're about to tell you where to find them, so that you can find out what those are, because everybody here has a different way they look at the Criterion and the way they look at movies, and we can all watch the same movie and get something different out of it. And that's the beauty of movies. It starts conversations, it starts friendships, it starts collectives like we're having right now. So it's just absolutely beautiful that the Criterion does take such care of such an important piece of history, if you really look at it. So I'm going to go around the horn here. I'm going to let everybody tell where they can find you, exactly however you want to say that. So I'm going to start with Tony at the top.
Okay, so you can find me, of course, on YouTube. I do a lot of unboxing videos. I think my main focus is really just collecting physical media, as you can tell. You can tell that. I guess from
that's not a green screen, folks.
I'm one of those people that just wants to have it on my shelf. I want to have everything available to me. If I want to see something, I want to just have it.
Yeah.
And so I love showcasing different titles. I do steelbook unboxings. I don't do very many haul videos unless it's like the Criterion season.
Mm-hmm.
But you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram. I've actually started TikTok, which is pretty hilarious. I should not be doing TikTok, that's for sure.
He looks great when he dances, I have to say.
Yeah, right?
Calling you right now.
That's me. I'm hoarding all those dance videos that Tony's putting up.
Yeah. If you see me dancing on TikTok, call a doctor. Something.
This is doppelganger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony watched Jellyfish Eyes. That's why he's dancing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we
There you
get
go.
it. All right. David, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, so you're referring to me as David. That is my name, David Fish. You've seen my name here.
Go. Sorry.
At FischToGo, on YouTube. I apologize if I'm like really slow to posting videos. I am an editor full time, so having to do like stuff on the side is just a little bit overwhelming. But I do, whenever I do get the videos, I love doing them, and hopefully I get to post more videos soon on the YouTube channel. And if you actually want to see a movie that I edited and produced, it's not in the Criterion Collection, but it's called Suffer for Good. I know we didn't talk a lot about documentaries. That could be a whole other conversation.
Suffer for Good?
True.
Suffer for Good boxing documentary. You can find it for free on the Tubi app or I want to say Vudu, but or it's available to rent or buy on Amazon or iTunes. Okay. And so, I mean, that would be great if that was in the collection, but obviously check it out for yourself. If you want to see immediate like movie reviews that I do, follow me on Letterboxd at FischToGo.
There you go. Yeah. I'll have to have you back on, then we can review your movie here. So,
good. Grill me on that.
Yeah, we'll grill you on everything. All right, Nate, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram and Twitter, but Instagram's the place, like, if you're wanting to connect more, that's the place where I would follow. It's at cinema_Nate N8. And then on YouTube, I mostly post. This whole last summer, I've been doing Harry Potter videos, but that's not what my channel is. I like to think I'm a variety of video essays as well as Criterion content. Beginning of this year, I started a monthly series where I talk about first-time watches of the month, and I also give that's where I would talk about like my physical media pickups or books that I read or little life updates. Like, I'm starting grad school in August, so that would be something that you find in the monthly video series. But I have a big love for old cinema, for black and white movies. So if you like that, I also, like David, follow my Letterboxd, because I feel like the people who don't like those movies, they probably get annoyed of my diary on Letterboxd because it's basically only old movies, especially right now. But love for the black and white movies and just old movies in general. And Nathan Hale Movies on YouTube.
Awesome. All right, Stephanie.
Okay, so I am Moviechatter on YouTube and Instagram, and I also have a Letterboxd. I don't keep up with it like I should, but I'm getting used to it. I just
it takes some getting used to.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how do I do this and how do I do that. But I'm enjoying doing the short form, quick reviews on that. My content is mixed content. It's kind of seasonal. If it's October, I'm doing horror content. I try to put Criterion in throughout the year, but I realize not everyone who follows my channel is into Criterion like we are. So I try to keep my stuff diverse so that there's a little something for everyone. I do some recommendations, not so much theater stuff. It's more stuff that I pick up physically. So I kind of focus on physical media like that. So Moviechatter, and we could talk about everything movies. And I really enjoyed meeting any of you that I did not know. It was a pleasure to chat with you guys and hear what you had to say. So I'm looking forward to following you guys.
Absolutely.
That I don't already follow. So, and thank you to Al for hosting.
Oh, thank you guys. This is great. All right, Nick.
Yeah. So you can find me at YouTube, NickTalksFlicks. I used to review movies. I don't do that anymore. I'm kind of, it's not really, I don't want to say that I kind of copied what Chris Stuckman now does because he's going to be a filmmaker. But like, to me, I never really found it fun to review new movies. And I kind of did it just to try to play into the formula, and I was like, it's just not for me. I do rankings though, weird, unusual types of rankings. I don't just rank like a series. I'll do like things like top 10 best guilty pleasure movies. things like that. I also do a series called Does This Movie Deserve a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes? I look at the worst movies rated on Rotten Tomatoes, and I look at them and give them a fair, kind of rundown. I cover a lot of independent stuff, a lot of independent horror. October is going to be filled with horror stuff. I do Criterion stuff with Nate. And if you're watching this, because this video is coming out on Wednesday, correct?
Yeah.
Yesterday, Tuesday, Nate and I collaborated on a Criterion video. So if you want some more Criterion fill in your eyes, Nate and we did a top 10 movies that should be in Criterion. I don't know what we're gonna call it because we did one last year, but
I think it's just like, yeah, we did one last year. It'll probably be 10 more movies that belong in the Criterion Collection.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we know one. We know one for sure.
Well, the funny thing is,
Yeah.
both of our top ones from last year when we did the video, that's what we shared tonight. Because I remember your number one was live. So we chose 10 new titles for this video.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I might
awesome.
still bring up Life is Beautiful. But
I
you
have a
know,
feeling you will. I have a feeling you will.
if you want to see my movie reviews, though, I do have a Letterboxd. It's at Nicholas Acosta. I do post regularly every time I do watch a new movie or like an older movie, or update you on my 100 movies project. Go check it out. I'm also I'm making a short film, and I'm very excited about it.
Oh, that's
My
awesome.
first
Cool.
one,
Congratulations.
it is a horror film, and I'm very excited about it. And I have been posting a little bit on my journey about that. More videos to come for that. And
We'll have to have you back on when your movie comes out. Yeah, we'll have to get
Congrats.
this. Yeah, that's awesome.
you.
Well, congratulations on that. Congratulations, everybody here on just, this is not about movies as much as it is just communicating and starting a conversation about something outside of the norm. And that's why I wanted to do this. And I'm hoping to make this a tradition of sorts. If everybody wants to come, we'll rotate who can and can't come and things like that. So please, everybody that is out there that loves Criterion, hit us up. Hit every single person here up. Everybody's information is down in the description. I want everybody to be liked and subscribed to, and make sure you check out all of the projects that these folks have. If you guys will stick right here for just a second, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody at home, but I want to thank you all for coming to hang out with me on Criterion Corner. I kind of painted myself into a corner calling it Criterion Corner. So you know what I talk about on here. But yeah, so thank you all so much for coming on here and for being there for me to shop with over the years, as my friends would not have anything to do. As you notice at the top of my intro, it says CiNEMACHiNE reluctantly presents. And it's because, and then it says, Ryan and Brandon want nothing to do with this. So I put that joke in there, but they were like, yeah, thank you. So
Nice.
But anyway, if you guys will stick right there, I'm just going to say goodbye to the crowd. Well, I had a great time chatting with the panel tonight. It was a great time. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to everybody's page on the panel. Be sure to reach out to them. Let them know how much you really appreciated them, or just tag them down in the comment section, and I'm sure they'll get right back to you. I want to thank everybody on the panel for just taking time out tonight just to chat Criterion. I had an absolute blast. I can't wait to do it again. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in to the first ever Criterion Roundtable. I can't believe this is a reality. But I'm going to go watch some Criterion right now because everybody mentioned so many good ones. I'm just in a mood to watch a good movie. So you guys all go do the same, and we'll see you on the next Criterion Corner.